Greetings and salutations. Hello and welcome to a brand new series on the FMScout channel. My name's Loki Doki. You can see if you want to know more about me and what I do, you can see the link in the description to my channel and Twitter and stuff like that. But basically what this series is going to be, I did a series of this on my own channel for the Premiership clubs, and I wanted to do a team guide of sorts. So this will take one particular team, and instead of what we'll do is go through the whole team. So we're going to look at the finances, see what sort of money we've got to spend on wages and transfer budget. We're going to look at what the board expect us to achieve this season. We're then going to take a look at the squad itself, look for any sort of possible weak points in the team or areas that we can improve. And then what I'll do is I'll cut the video, play a few weeks, make some of the signings that I would choose to make. Obviously, you know, everybody's free to do their own thing, and these are just my ideas. They might be bad, they might be good, but it's probably what I would have done at the beginning of the game. And then we'll come back and go through the sort of signings that I made to strengthen the team, and then just have a sort of sum up and see what sort of expectations we got. So the first video I'm going to make is Rangers, and I thought this would be a really interesting one because on my channel I've got every team in the Premiership. I've done all the teams in the Premiership. That's all done. I wanted to do some clubs from around the world, so I thought about doing a Scottish one, and I thought Celtic, oh no, Celtic's a bit boring really, isn't it? You're the best team in the league, you know, that's not so. I thought Rangers, that's brilliant. They sort of come back sort of into existence but haven't. Weird shenanigans that went on with Rangers, and what they are is they're in the Championship, so they're the second division in Scotland. They are the best team supposedly. You are looking to get promoted, so let's actually see exactly what the chairman wants us to achieve. So they don't have any philosophy, so they don't want us to play attacking football or play youngsters, so that's nice. You're free to play or do however you like. The confidence, so let's see what they want in the different competitions. So in the Championship, win the league. Simple as that, win the league. It's fair enough, it's kind of what is expected. We'll take that. The Scottish Cup, quarter-final, the Scottish League Cup, quarter-final, and the Scottish League Challenge Cup, they don't care. Right, so that's fine. So basically we've got to win the league. Okay, so next up we're going to look into finances. Obviously that's a big part of it. We've got £8 million in the bank, which is fantastic. We've got a transfer budget of £500,000. I have tried to ask to see if they will give me more money, but they said no. You can give it a go. You might get them to persuade them to do it, but I couldn't. And you have a wage budget of £118,000 a week. We're spending 108, so we've got £10,000 a week to play with. Okay, it's not too bad. There may be some players we can sell to increase that. Let's have a look at the debts. We have a £5 million loan, which we are paying back very, quite large chunks. We're having to pay this back, so we're starting to pay this back literally next month. So we are going to the finances are just going to plummet every month. We're paying that, plus we're going to have small, like, you know, we're only in the Championship, so the gate receipts are going to be lower. This 8 million is going to be eaten alive very quickly. So we don't want to go too mad with the budget. And if we can help by maybe reducing the wages, maybe that's something we could look to do. One thing I did notice, we'll go through the team now, and there's a couple of bits I'll notice. What I'll do is I'll take you through the three players that are already here on loan. One of it's Dominic Ball, and I noticed, I was having a look at his contract, and we're paying for the duration of his loan. He's a decent player. For the duration of his loan, we're paying £4,000 a week. Okay, that's a lot of money that could be saved. Now, if you're going to make them an offer and you say, can we loan you for the rest of the season or 12 months, as this case, they don't require any wages. So you can instantly, by offering a new loan deal for that player, save £4,000 a week rather. Sweet. So I think, but let's see if we can do it with the other ones as well. So we're paying £3,000 a week, so we might be able to get that down. Yeah, we can. So that's definitely huge. We can save 20 grand, you know, 10, 15 grand there a week on wages, pure and simply just through renegotiating those loan contracts, because they're all decent players. So let's actually have a look at the team as a whole. So this is the senior squad. Our main goalkeeper is Wes Fotheringham even, and he's a really good goalkeeper. He's an absolute solid goalkeeper. He's 24, so he's still going to improve. He can be your number one for a good few years. No worries whatsoever about him. Now, the only issue we have is with backup. So Cammy Bell is our main backup, but he starts the season out for 3 months. So I think you should be okay. Wilson is also... Oh, Wilson's out for 6 months. There's no point in even him... He's only 16 years old. There's no point in even being here, really, is there? So you either... We'll have a quick look. So we've got a couple of goalkeepers here. So we've got Robbie McCrory, who would probably do as a decent backup, or Liam Kelly. So that's okay. We can bring one of those through, your choice, to bring through and be the backup. So that's not a problem at all. So goalkeepers sorted, I think. Absolutely sorted. So next up we've got, let's have a look at right back positions. So we've got on loan Dominic Ball, who obviously once you negotiate will be here for the season. He can play centre back, and right back, and centre midfield, and left back. But he's, how is he? 6 foot tall, tackling 14, 11 marking, 10 heading. He's an okay player. He's a decent versatile player. He's okay at right back. His crossing's 9, so it's not too bad. He can go forward a bit. But he's a decent squad player. And like I said, once you renegotiate, you're not paying any wages for him. Next up on the right back front, we have James Tavernier, who's a very good fullback. This guy, you sorted for a right back here. Really good physicals. He's decent going forward. So if you're complete wing back, he's comfortable playing, and wing back going forward, he's really good. He's got dribbling 12, crossing 12, as well as decent pace and acceleration. Going 9 and 10 for tackling and marking is definitely more of an attacking fullback, but I think he's absolute quality. Scouts rate him at 4-star already. Like I say, he's 23 years old. He's only going to get better. So the 2 positions we looked at so far, all good. No need to worry about that. Now, Lee Wallace, we know this guy's an absolute quality player. I've seen him. He's a bit of an FM legend. Last year, I seem to remember signing him. Absolute quality player. He's got 2 years left on the deal. He is wanted by Huddersfield. He's valued at 185,000. I don't think that he's worth cashing in on unless you can get a load for him, but I don't think you will. I think as a left back goes, you're absolute sorted. A backup left back, you limited to Jordan Thompson, who's 18 years old, so he's one for the future. The scouts really rate him. He's an okay player, with that being special. He's fine as a backup in the Championship, let's be fair. And it's good that he can also cover centre mid as well. I think he's a decent all-round player. And then next we're going to look at centre backs. So we've already looked at Dominic Ball, who's okay. Next up we've got Rob Kiernan, who I really like, 24 years old. You've got a decent young team here. Decent physicals. He's got tackling 15, marking 13, heading 15. Bravery's 13, anticipation's 13, decision making is 12. He's a very good player, and he's also going to get better. 6'1", doesn't have any weird preferred moves like dives into tackle or dwells on the ball. They're always horrible ones for centre backs. Next up, we have Danny Wilson, ex-Liverpool player. I seem to remember. Yep, 2 million. That went well, didn't it? Another quality centre back. 6'2", likes a long range pass randomly, but his passing's 12, so he could actually play as a ball playing defender if you were deciding to play with one. Good determination, is going to definitely improve. Tackling is 14, marking 12, heading 14. 2 really good centre backs there. I'd be delighted with that. In the Championship, they are beastly. Looking at our first choice back 4 and including the goalkeeper, absolutely sorted. Our main backup is the young Craig Halkett, 20 years old. His technicals are okay, his mentals are okay-ish, and his physicals are somewhat lacking. But I think as your fourth, he'll probably be your fourth choice centre back. Dominic Ball will be your main backup. I think that's fine for this level. You don't need to go too crazy here. We're not trying to win the Champions League. We're just trying to get out of the Championship. So I think he's perfectly fine as a fourth choice. He's going to improve, but I don't think he's ever really going to make it. Alright, so next up, moving into the midfield position. So I haven't done anything with the players. So this Dean Shields is listed, transfer listed. He's not too bad. This is up to you if you want to keep him. He's okay. Decent versatile player. He's on £5 a week. So if wages are your thing that you need to cut down, then that could be something there. He's played for a few seasons. Last season wasn't fantastic. He's okay. I think I can understand why the gamers or the previous manager has transfer listed him. Next up, we've got Nicky Law, 27 years old. He's a little bit better. He's a bit more attacking. He's actually got good finishing. First touch is good. Composure is 10. He's got some decent attacking, like shadow striker stats. Let's actually have a look at that. He's got some decent. The only problem is here. Some of his mental stats let him down. Determination, decision making, and composure, especially for a shadow striker. But he's got some decent play all round, and he can play on the wing as well because he's got 12 crossing, decent pace. They're your two sort of big ones for the wing. I think he can definitely play a part in your squad because he's good and versatile, and without being anything outstanding. Next up on the sort of central midfielder-ish front, we've got Gideon Zelalem. And he's on loan from Arsenal. Yep. He's actually really good. Like I said, renegotiate his deal. You'll get his wages down. So, quality player, central midfielder, and can play attacking midfielder. I think he's going to get plenty of game time for you. And you don't have to pay him any wages. So, sweet. Next up, we have Jason Holt, 22 years old, Scottish. He's alright. I suppose he's not as good as our Loney. A little bit more versatile, but he's got some really weak areas in his game. His technical stats aren't fantastic. He's got good passing and technique. So as a sort of deep line playmaker, pinging balls around, I think is going to be his main role. He's not that good going forward. Other than that, I think he's more of a sort of Steven Gerrard-esque role. Let's just go through all the midfielders now, I think. So next up, we have Fraser Ard. I don't know how to pronounce it, sorry, Mr. Canadian man. 20 years old, only on £2 a week. He looks pretty decent. He's a good pacey winger, 16 acceleration, 15 pace. Crossing needs some work. His mentals are a little bit low, so he could go missing in the odd game. He shoots from distance, knocks balls past the opponent, runs with ball often. That's quite good for that, because he's got such good pace. I think he can do a decent job. The scouts don't rate him too highly, but I think he's half decent, and he plays naturally as a winger. Can play on the left as well as an inside forward. Next up, we have Martin Waghorn. He's been around the block a few teams, yeah. Wigan, Leicester, Millwall. Started off at Sunderland. He's mainly as a striker, as a defensive type forward. He's one of those good all-rounders without being particularly good at anything. Outstanding at anything. He's only 5'10", so he's not going to win those. Yeah, I'm not. He's okay. I think he's a decent squad player. He's on £6 a week. He's okay, I think. But this is his first season, so you can't sell him, unfortunately, because he's worth 375,000. But you know, he's a decent squad player. I think he'll get some game time. At least he can play out on different positions. Next, we've got Andy Halliday. He's really versatile, and that's the best thing I can say about him, really. He's decent across the board, 23 years old, so he's definitely going to improve. Decent mentals without being outstanding. Defensively, tackling's 9. He's okay. I think he's definitely going to improve. It's the sort of player you could probably have in your bench because he can play so many different positions and just fill in where need be. Okay, we move to Jason Holt. Now we've got Kenny Miller, legend at Rangers. This is his fourth spell at Rangers. Really decent player. He's 35 now, but his actual physicals have actually stayed quite high. It's still pretty good. I definitely give him some game time. He's going to get you goals. He plays best as a defensive forward again, and you can play him as inside forward. Versatile player, really good mental stats. Get him tutoring one of your youngsters because he's going to be a decent tutor. Moves into channels and likes to try and beat the offside trap. Definitely give him some game time. We've only got him for one season. He's on $5,000. I think he'll do really well for that one season. He's going to drop off quite quickly, but for this season to get you into the Premiership, be perfect. Next up, we've got David Templeton. So he's 26 years old. He looks a decent left. So he's an inside forward, so that gives you a different option. Can play as a winger as well. He's good pace, 15 pace and 15 acceleration. He's naturally fit, so he's going to run about for ages. Stamina's a little bit low, and his strength is very low, so he's going to get knocked off the ball the odd time. But I think dribbling 16, flair 14. He's going to beat people for fun. Plays 1-2s, knocks ball past opponent, cuts inside from both wings and runs with ball often. So we're looking at definite inside forward role for this guy. But I think he actually looks pretty decent. There's some real weak points in his game. It's one of those... His mental stats, he's got some really high ones and some ridiculously low ones. Determined 2, decision making 4, bravery 4, aggression 5. He's a bit of a wuss. He's going to jump out of a tackle. But I think he can do some decent things when he's on his game. He's a decent all-round player. Next up, we've got Barry Mackay, 20 years old. Another winger on the right-hand side, or can play behind the striker. Can play up front as well, although composure 5, I would hate to play him up front. Off the ball's 12. Everything's decent apart. His first touch is 13. Finishing is 11, is a little bit low for a striker, but composure 5 just hurts. That just hurts. I definitely use him as more of a winger. He's got 16 crossing. He's got decent dribbling, and flair. Cuts inside, so he's going to play that inside forward role well. Decent pace. 20 years old. He's going to improve. This guy's definitely going to get very good. It'd be interesting to see how well this guy develops. He's definitely he's wanted as well. Who's he wanted by? Yeah, Hearts and Partick Thistle both want him. I think he can be a quality player. Next up, we have, on loan from Tottenham, Nathan Adour. And he is just a pacey player. He's going... That's kind of it. That's kind of about it, isn't it, really? He's pacey and he's got flair. Decent finishing. His mental stats are pretty dreadful. Other than flair. He's okay. Like you said, he's free. Once you renegotiate his loan deal, he's not going to cost you any wages. I think he's alright, squad player. You do have a number of striker options though. Next up, we've got Nicky Clark, not the hairstylist. He's listed in the game. He's on $3,000 a week. He's a decent pacey striker. Finishing 13. First touch is poor. Composure's okay. 24 years old. I might as well. He's an advanced forward, which is the only one we've had so far that's actually likes that role. We've had a lot of defensive forwards or target man. I think maybe he's an option depending on how you want to play, but we have a lot of strikers, so maybe he's right to be listed. Next up, we have Tom Walsh, who's currently loan listed. Let's have a look if he's worthy of getting some game time. He plays best as a striker, although his first touch is 9, his finishing is 9, and his composure is 8. He is not a striker in any way. He's clearly a winger. So retrain him to play on one of these wings. You could play him as an inside forward and work a little bit on his finishing, but I wouldn't call him a striker at all. But I think he's a decent prospect. Lastly, we've got Ryan Hardy, who looks absolutely beastly. He's going to be your main man. He's a poacher, advanced forward. He's the one that's going to get you the goals. 14 finishing. First touch is 9. It's a little bit weak. Composure's 13. Off the ball is 13. He's really pacey. He's going to run forever. He's one of those players that'll be good at closing down on the goalkeeper and trying to force him into a mistake. His heading's only 7, which is a shame because he's 6'4", so he's a big lump. But he's just going to be. He's only 18 years old, so do whatever you can to hold on to this guy. He's going to be absolute quality. Next up, we'll have a quick look in the under-20s just to see if there's any big potential players, and there's a few in here. So first off, we've got Ross McCrory, who's a centre-back. So already I might replace our main guy, what's his name? Halkett. I think he could probably replace straight away with McCrory. Ross McCrory. He looks decent young player, 17 years old, decent amount of pace, 6'3", 12 tackling, 12 marking, 10 heading. I think he's better than the other guy already, and obviously he's got the potential to be huge. And plus he can also play right back, although more defensive, obviously right back than attacking. Next up, we've got what I assume is maybe his brother, which is what we looked at briefly before, Robbie McCrory. He's going to be a backup goalkeeper probably, and he's going to get really good. He's a decent young player. Let's have a look at his stats. He's got good handling, his kicking's good, his reflex is good, his rushing out is okay-ish. He's not crazy. He can work on a little bit. He's 6'4", so you'd wish that his aerial reach and command of area was a little bit higher, but they're things you can work on. He's only 17, so I think he's got the potential to be a really good young goalkeeper. Next up, we have Jamie Borjanas. Only 16 years old, this kid. Looks the real deal. Good all-round player. Massive lack of pace, but probably anywhere on the pitch you can get away with having no pace is probably, or goalkeeper, obviously. But central midfielder, I think, is definitely worth it. I think he's got a lot of good stats, so he definitely looks like he's better going forward. His passing is only 7, his long shots is 12, first touch is 12, decision making is 12, teamwork, vision, and work rate. So he's going to be the passer, pinging it about. We need to work. I would work on the passing, or alternatively, you can play him further up and use his good finishing of 11. 12 dribbling, long shots of 12, and playing more of as an advanced playmaker, actually getting a few goals. But definitely work with him because he could really become good. I think he's definitely got potential. Next up, we've got Max Ashmore, another youngster, defensive midfielder. We haven't got many of those, but can also play across the central midfield. He's not the most defensive of defensive midfielders. Tackling's 10, marking 7. 5'11", doesn't have any preferred moves, no stamina. That will go up because he's only young, so that will improve. But I think he's got a potential to be a decent player. He's kind of got mixed stats for a defensive midfielder. Maybe you need to retrain him. And lastly, we'll look at is Ryan Cinnamon, okay, who's a right back. Actually a decent player. He could actually get into your team as your backup if you needed one, or you had an injury crisis. Cup games, I think, definitely give him some time. He's a decent young player. Not great going forward. Only 4 crossing. If you want attacking fullbacks, you might need to work on that. But a really good prospect. And there might be a few others in here, but I'm not going to go through every player because it's going to get dull. There's going to be a lot of rubbish. So overall, I'd say that we have a great goalkeeper. We have our first 4 positions. Let's just go. If we went a flat back 4, we'd have an absolutely beastly back 4 first choice team here. You play in there. Like that back 4 is good enough to compete in the Premiership, let alone the Championship. So I would, and we've got decent enough backups. We've got enough of them. I think I definitely look to keep that as it is. Don't sell anyone. Don't need to buy anyone. There's your back 4, including your goalkeeper, and then we'll work on the next bit. So what I'm going to do now is I edit the video here, and I'll play a bit of pre-season. I'm going to make some transfers. What I'd do if I was going to continue with this save. And see who I can bring in, if I've sold anybody, and roughly what sort of formation. Maybe a starting formation for the team. Obviously, as you play more games, you adjust and change things. But let's go with a starting formation. So I'll join you back here. Do the music, and then I'll come back. You see, it's magic. Right, and we're back. So I've gone on a few weeks. I've done some transfer dealings, and we'll go through those now, the ins and the outs, just to see what I would have done. I've not spent a massive amount of time, but I've had a good look round, seeing what we can do with the transfers. So the first thing I did was obviously our 3 loan signings that we already had. I renegotiated their loans, immediately cut those wages out, which was about £12,000 a week. So we've reduced the wage budget, which allowed me to just a bit more manoeuvrability in the transfer market. So let's have a look straight in. So the first one out, we've sold Nicky Clark for 30,000. He's an okay player. He can run fast. Good. That's about it, really. There's a couple more players that I would like to get out. I like working with a smaller squad overall. But let's have a look at the players we got in. So the first up was a nice, easy to pronounce, Rosario Latouchent. This guy was available on a free. This was kind of a punt. I wasn't expecting this. It just came up in one of my scout reports. I was like, okay. Basically, he can play left back, right back. He's decently attacking. He's only 19 years old. He's only on a low wage. He's worth a punt. He's possible 4.5 star. It was more of a punt, this one. I think he could be quite decent, given some game time. So it was just kind of thought, give him a go. I think there's no harm in it. There's quite a few clubs interested in him, so I picked him up on a free. Next up, Richie Towell, I think, is an absolute quality player. I think the weakest point in this team is the central midfield. And so that's where we've really sort of focused our aims here. So this is the main man, that is Richie Towell. 4-star ability, 23 years old. I bought him from Dundalk for 250,000. Had a fantastic season, 2 seasons, 3 seasons at Dundalk. He was an ex-Celtic player, so that'll be nice for the fans. And I just think he's an absolute quality player. He's a good all-rounder. He's going to improve. He's also good at set pieces, which is quite nice. He's got good finishing, so a nice advanced playmaker role. Even behind the strikers, you could play him. Really versatile, really. The only thing defensively, his side's not that great, so definitely going forward more. But I think he's an absolute quality player. He's going to do really well for us. He's got 11 under-21 caps for Ireland. Quality player. Next up, we have Jason Cummings. This is the other big starlet in the Scottish leagues, the striker position. For Hibs last season, he scored 19 goals in 33 games. So we spent, I think, 500,000 on him. I think it was 300,000 up front and 200 spread over 2 years. And that allowed us, because we'd reduced the wage budget so much, we could adjust our budget to get him in. So really happy with him. He's an absolute quality player, advanced forward poacher, but his stats pretty much make him able to play anything here other than sort of complete forward, which a lot of players struggle with. I quite like him at deep line forward, but literally you could play him anywhere. He's pacey. You could play him as a poacher. And finally, we got in Connor McGrandles on loan from Norwich. And this guy was more just sort of to give us options. As you'll see when we go into the tactic, this gives us a slightly different option. And I've just built a very basic tactic. I haven't really even tested it. It's kind of what I foresee. In my lead save, I've got a lead save on my channel, and also my YouTube FC, which is a create a club mode. They both use this shape, which is a 4. You could call it 4-2-4 or a 4-2-2-2, as I like to call it. And because we're the best team in this league, right? So we want to dominate them. It's not about trying to counter or we want to say, look, we're going to destroy you. So I want to go attacking. I want to push forward. I want to get goals. We've got a really good, solid back 4. So what I've done here is I've got Hardy and Cummings as the 2 young, brilliant strikers. I think they're going to be an amazing force. Play as 2 strikers. These roles can be altered depending on how you're doing or how you want to play, but Cummings and Hardy as a strike force will be absolutely dominant in the Championship. I think they'll be quality. I'm actually tempted to now carry on a Rangers save. I'm sorely tempted. That allows us then to play Kenny Miller as an inside forward on the left hand side. I think he plays really well there. He moves into channels, likes to try and beat the offside trap. I think they sort of suit this position here. He drifts out anyway. So I'd rather, if he's going to be drifting out, I'd rather have other players in position to score the goals. We're playing him, so we've set him to play slightly narrower. So he's going to play in this sort of Thierry Henry-like hole, just behind and to the left of the Hardy. And then we've got Wallace as our attacking fullback that's going to bomb past him. We've got him to stay wider. He's going to give us the width. We don't want him shooting, but we want him whipping in those balls. So he's gonna give us the width. You can actually do that on the other side if you want to as well. The reason I haven't is we've got Mackie, who's a really good winger, and I wanted to play him as a winger. He's got 16 crossing, he's good at pace, he's good at dribbling, he's a really good winger. So I'm going to sort of play him as a winger to begin with and then go on. And so when I was talking about the options, so at the moment we've got Holt and Towel as our playmakers, an advanced and a deep lying playmaker in midfield. Now, so the only thing I'd say, if you're getting, this is why I wanted this option, if you're getting overrun, maybe a little bit dominated in midfield, as well as obviously you could drop a striker to attack in midfield, you probably want to go with a more defensive minded midfielder, and both these really aren't that defensively minded. Holt's okay. You can play him as a central midfielder, even a ball winning at a push. But that's why I got the lone player from Norwich in. So Conor McGrandles can be on the bench, come in if we're 2-1 up in the 75th minute. He can come in and just provide, either play as a ball-winning midfielder as in central midfield, or even drop it to a defensive midfield position, just to give us a bit more structure, cover for Wallace if he's bombing forward and such like. Just had a quick little look at the team instructions. So I went on control and flexible. We wanted to play normal tempo, fairly narrow. So we're going to play fairly narrow, but with Wallace as our main width provider on the left-hand side, and McKay on the other side to give us the width. We want to keep the ball, so we've got retained possession. We want to play out defence. We're the better team, so we're forcing this upon our opponents. They've got to get it back off us. I'm also going to close it down more, so I'm going to close it down further up the pitch. We're going to close down the goalkeeper. We're going to close down their players, make them make mistakes that we can then capitalise on. And because we've got so many forward players, hopefully the idea is that they will be bombing on and getting goals for us. So this is what I probably sort of similar to this is what I'd start off the save with, and then as you sort of play games and you notice things that you might change things up a little bit. But this is what I'd start with, I think, something along these lines. Right, using the magic of YouTube editing, we have moved forward a couple of months, and I'm just going to check out the players using that tactic we looked at, see how the new players settled in, see if the tactic worked, just for sort of an FYI for you guys. So we'll have a look straight at the schedule. So I let my assistant do the friendlies using the tactic just so we get a bit more used to it. So we played a lot of cup games early on, but it's working really well. This is with no tweaks from the tactic whatsoever. We'll have another quick look at it just to remind you guys, and if you want to try it out. So we won against Queen's Park in the Challenge Cup first round. We won the League Cup. Basically we won every game, apart from Dumbarton, who we lost 1-0 to in the cup. We were the better side, just sort of not very clinical, really. Not enough shots on target that really let us down, and it was an own goal that won it for them. But other than that, it's been pretty fantastic. So here's the league table: 4 wins out of 4. Lovely jubbly. We even beat Hibs, which is obviously the big game of the season. We beat Hibs 2-1. So that proves that it does actually work decently against. I think it definitely needs some tweaking overall, but I think it really works well. Jason, let's have a look at the players we brought in. So I'll go onto the show it from the transfer screen so we can just go through. So the young guy hasn't had a game so far. We just bought him in on a free. He was more one for the future and as a sort of backup player. So he hasn't played for us yet. Richie Towell, who's our central midfielder, has been playing fantastically well. In the 4 league games he's played, he's averaged 8.15. In the League Cup, 8.6. In the Scottish League Challenge Cup, 8.65. Yeah, so he's been doing absolutely fantastic. So if you get a chance to buy him, I definitely would say give it a go. He's worth 550k, so even if we sold him now, we already made double the money on him. And also Jason Cummings struggled in the league randomly, but in the League Cup, randomly. But in the Championship, he scored 5 goals and 2 assists in 4 games. He's tearing it up. He also played the European Under-21 Championship, scored twice in his 1 game. Absolute quality player, already up to 800,000. Very happy with him. And McGrandles, as we said, he's not going to be a starter. He's made 4 sub appearances. Basically, when we want to close out a game, he's a little bit more defensive. So we bring him on when we just want to shut down the game, and it's worked perfectly so far. So there you have it. That pretty much wraps up the episode. I hope you got a lot out of the guide, and give Rangers a go. I think it's a fun challenge. I think the tactic we're using is here, the sort of 4-2-2-2. Control instructions are there. If you want to have a look at them, give it a go. Definitely could do with some tweaking. I think you've got such a good team that the first season should be pretty easy. I think that's not really the challenge. Obviously, the challenge is going forward. To sort of overthrowing Celtic is obviously the big challenge, but definitely worth. It looks like a fun save, and I've actually, having played for a couple of months, I'm actually a little bit hooked on it, and I might just have it as a personal save. Yeah, let me know what you think. And the big thing I want to ask you guys is, what club do you want to see next? I've got a list of a few that I'm interested in doing, but tell me which clubs you'd like to see in the comments below. Also, if don't mention any Premiership teams, because I have a guide for every single Premiership team on my own YouTube channel, so I won't be doing Premiership, but any other team from around the world, leave a comment and we'll get into that. I just want to say a big thank you to FMScout for letting me do some videos for their channel. It's been good fun getting to know the guys and everything at FMScout. Check out all their channels. They do some amazing stuff as well. And that about wraps it up for me. So please check out my channel in the box below thingy, the information-y thing, description thing, majig. That'd be amazing. Subscribe to FMScout for tons more interesting videos, all sorts of weird and wonderful stuff that we've got going up over the next few weeks. Trying to upload every single day for you guys. And that's about it. Thank you very much. I love you all. Goodbye.